Please listen carefully.
Well, hello, universe, and welcome to the Optimist Daily Update. I'm Kristy Jansen.
And I'm Amelia Buckley.
And we're part of the team behind the Optimist Daily, making solutions the news. We bring you reader-funded solutions news every day in order to change the tenor of news media, social media, and the direction of your day to one focused on solutions.
7 days a week, we publish positive news stories written by award-winning journalists and delivered online to your inbox and through our social channels. And also, we are sharing these solutions in a commute-worthy, walk-worthy, this is our second take of the day-worthy podcast. Today is Wednesday, the 27th of October, 2021. Oh, Kristy, tell them what we did.
Well, so usually in our morning recording session, Summers is the master of the record, and she, even though Amelia is actually the producer and does all the editing, usually Summers presses the record button. And today we don't have Summers because she's off doing some other stuff. It's just me and Amelia, and we did a really great take. We talked, we had a great conversation. We talked about our headlines and we said goodbye, and then Amelia says, "Oh no, we forgot to press record," and now we have to do it again. So yes, this is our second take.
Recording of the podcast. The world will never hear it, but we will know in our hearts that it was fabulous.
It was brilliant. We did talk about the fact that tomorrow, Amelia, who's in Santa Barbara right now, because she's on a trip to her visiting friends here in her second hometown.
My former stomping ground.
Your former stomping grounds. But we are going to be coming together tomorrow morning for our Thursday staff call, and in person. It'll be a hybrid experience. I'm so excited about that. Amelia, have you and Carissa together with me? And then
I'm making a delicious special baked good, but it's going to be a surprise. So
I'm so excited about that. Okay,
on Friday.
I'll provide the libations. We also talked about walking on the beach and how fun that is in Santa Barbara.
Except that lately, I tried to go on a beach walk yesterday, but the tide was too high, so I couldn't actually walk on the beach. But I'm going to try again later this week. Hopefully, as the weather improves a little bit.
Well, you have to go to a different time of day. That's what the problem is. The tide.
It was high tide, and then it was also the surf has been really high lately, like big waves. So they were coming in all the way to the cliff.
Yeah, it's been stormy. It's better. It's I think better today though. Today and tomorrow it should be calm.
Not a cloud in the sky.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. But you also then have to contend with the tar on the beach and cleaning it off the bottom of your feet. But that's the fun part of living in Santa Barbara.
It is. I have to tell you this funny story. Once when I was a little kid, my sister and I went for a walk on the beach, and we got home, and my grandmother lived here in Santa Barbara, so we were visiting her, and we've been coming here since we were really little. And we got home, and you use oil to take tar off your feet, and I don't think we're being supervised very closely. And so we just went to grab some olive oil to get it off our feet, and we ended up using like really expensive, high-quality olive oil to wash our feet. And we got a lot of stuff. So baby oil is the more economical version.
Yes, something that doesn't cost $20 an ounce.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, that's one of the things you do once and you remember it for the rest of your life, right?
Yeah, like forgetting to press record on the podcast. We'll never do it again.
Let's say that now, but I think this is at least the second time that you and I have been in this situation, Amelia.
We didn't have to tell them that. This is the second time we've done this, but I wasn't gonna admit that.
Oh, we like transparency, listeners. We like
fool me once. What is the saying? Fool me once. Shame on you.
Shame on
fool me twice. Shame on Kristy and Amelia.
Exactly. What do we want to talk about from today's headlines, Amelia? I'll let you take the lead on this one.
All right. Well, the story that I want to talk about today has to do with two of my favorite things, rewilding and Ireland. I studied abroad in Ireland, so it has a place dear to my heart. The story that I would like to cover is the Lord of Rewilding. Irish Baron turns his estate into a nature preserve. And this is a story about one of the holders of the oldest surviving Irish peerage titles, which is essentially Irish nobility dating back to medieval times. And the name of the person in question is Randall Plunkett, and his official title is the 21st Baron of Dunsany. And he is one of the last surviving medieval baronies in Ireland. And on his large estate, which is 750 acres, he is engaging in rewilding. And so he has essentially let nature run its course on his entire property. And instead of using it for livestock or lawns, he is letting nature take a hold, and he's letting it return to what it would look like, hundreds and hundreds of years ago before it was cultivated by humans. And his project is really impressive. It's 750 acres, and it is currently the only Irish rewilding project that is recognized by the European Rewilding Network. And it's really effective. It's been going on for about 8 years now, and there's some really cool species that have come back to the area, like pine martens, which are a rare species related to the weasel. And then there's others, buzzards, peregrine falcons, hawks, red kites, kestrels, and woodpeckers. So a whole bunch of animals now call this little refuge home because he's returned it to their natural ecosystem.
I think this is great. I noticed that it talks about otters and red deer who are also located there. Otters, I didn't even realize they had otters in Europe. Honestly,
I think it's not very common, but they are starting to make a comeback because there's some conservation efforts taking place.
Well, and this is super important concept in terms of creating more biodiversity on the planet, or encouraging biodiversity to come back. And this is it's a decent sized tract of land that's now kind of an oasis for these wild species and helping them return. The story talks about how the United Nations Environment Program is on a mission right now to rewild and restore a territory the size of China over the next decade. And that will help to meet commitments on nature that also tackle climate change. It regenerates the soils. It helps to keep more carbon. In the last time we recorded this, I mentioned how I just recently finished reading The Overstory, which is Richard Powers' 2019 book. Great book about trees and nature, and I just loved it. But in this book, two of the characters, they allow their 1.5-acre yard to just go wild, much to the dismay of their neighbors. But I just love that idea.
We have to reframe our idea of beauty and think of rewilding.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because we used to feel like a good, healthy forest was one that had nothing but trees. And one kind of tree was equivalent to others. Young trees are just as valuable as old trees. In fact, that is not the case. They're finding now that diversity in a forest, diversity of tree species is super important, but also letting the dead trees lay, letting the tree leaves disintegrate into the ground is super important. It gives habitat. It improves the soil quality. It lets the fungus grow. It lets the squirrels and the pine martens thrive. And exactly. I think this is a great story, Amelia. And I know that your research and your writing on rewilding has really touched a nerve with a lot of our readers as well. So I like that you chose this one. I have a fun story that talks about two of my loves, as a matter of fact, because it's about lemurs and it's about music. So those are two things I really enjoy talking about. The headline reads, "Study, lemurs are the only non-human mammal with a sense of rhythm." And yes, we know birds like to sing and they have a sense of sound and music. But in fact, researchers in Madagascar have documented that lemurs use rhythm and singing together in groups. And that's the only other species besides humans that have been known to use rhythm and song. This is it reports on a 12-year study, which specifically followed the Indri species of lemur in the rainforest of Madagascar. And these endangered lemurs were observed singing in harmonized duets, singing in choruses. And the reason that this also tickles my imagination is that movie Madagascar, which I'm sure lots of us have seen, was one of my son's favorite movies when he was a kid. And in fact, it's only very recently that I removed the song "We Like to Move It" from my playlist, my kid playlist, which was the featured song that the lemurs sang, because the lemurs in Madagascar are the ones that sponsored all the dance parties. And I just find that hilarious.
So maybe the producers of Madagascar knew something before modern science did.
They knew something. And it's just, maybe that's what inspired these researchers to look into the lemurs of Madagascar. It's like art imitating life and life imitating art. I love it. But as a matter of fact, that's exactly what they found. what having a distinct rhythm means that they sang in intervals between sounds that have exactly the same duration. In the case of the lemurs, they're either singing at a 1-to-1 or a double duration, which is a 1-to-2 rhythm. And while we love music as humans, and we even listen to other nature sounds, we listen to whale song and find that beautiful. We listen to bird song and find that beautiful. We may not like the actual songs of the lemurs because they kind of sound like high-pitched squeaks to the human ear. So they had to analyze them in a different way to find out that there was actually this distinct rhythms. So I think that's pretty funny. We're probably not going to be listening to lemur songs.
No, I'll stick to human songs, but I can appreciate that the lemurs dance to their own tune.
I can appreciate that they dance to their own tune. And just like in humans, I think it does promote social cohesion and learning that this kind of communication is also present in a non-human species can help to provide insights into how humans use music as well. Even though the Indri and humans, the last known common ancestor of these two species was like 77.5 million years ago. So it's probably not, we didn't both have a last common ancestor that used music. It evolved independently and separately in humans and in the lemur groups that they are studying. So, but it does give us some insight into how important music is for bringing us all together. So, anyway,
other things that are good for bringing us together are solutions on the Optimist Daily.
Oh,
and
yes.
We've got a few other great stories today. We have study, start of season metrics provides strong insights into the future of salmon risks. A study from UCSB, which we are both fans of. We've got So You've Popped a Pimple, Here's What to Do Next, according to an expert. New Zealand swears in the first Indigenous Maori Governor General, and implanted electrodes could offer improved vision for 148 million blind people. And that's for individuals that have injuries to the optic nerve. So that one is really cool. What else do we have?
Well, we also have a story that talks about empowering ways to compliment girls that go beyond their looks. We have a headline that reads, Meet the Sioux chef who's putting Native American foods on the menu. And that's Sioux as in the Sioux tribe, the Sioux nation, not Sioux as in the second chef in a kitchen.
I didn't even realize that was kind of a little punny until you read it out loud.
Very punny, very punny. I love it. We have an article that helps celebrate Emotional Wellness Month with these 5 healthy habits, self-care, emotional wellness, super important, and 8 ways to strengthen your fingernails naturally. That is keep your nails strong for putting on polish or tapping out a tune on your desk if you want to get into music. And that is it. Go to theoptimistdaily.com and look at all these headlines and more. And that's it for today's Optimist Daily Update. Thank you so much for listening. We promise to keep sharing positive solution-based stories with cool ideas on how you can get active and participate in the changing world and ensure it is changed for the good. And we promise to keep covering current events and things that don't make it to the headlines on other news sources with accurate and legitimate sources to offer you the information you need and we all need to help chart new paths for all of us.
And hey guys, if you're not already, please consider becoming an emissary on theoptimistdaily.com. And for just $5 a month, you can support reader-funded independent journalism and be part of the solution-changing consciousness and addressing our world's biggest challenges with a problem-solving mindset. So help us keep the Optimist Daily free to all who need it and supported by those who can. We will be back tomorrow with more solutions. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, everybody. Bye, Amelia. Fun talking with you.
Bye.